I think you and I were saying, what are we going to do? It was a pretty sad time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We were depressed.
It seems like this cycle.
Bill Gaither's name has, for generations, been a symbol of gospel music, joyful worship, and unwavering faith expressed through song. For more than 6 decades, audiences have connected his name with uplifting performances, inspirational lyrics, and a ministry that has touched millions around the world. When people hear the name Bill Gaither, they often think of harmony-filled church concerts, homecoming gatherings filled with warmth, and songs that speak directly to the soul. His work is celebrated not only for its artistry, but also for the way it nurtures faith and spreads encouragement. Yet, as is often the case with legendary figures, the public image only reveals part of the story. Behind the glowing stage lights, the television broadcasts, and the thunderous applause of fans lies a journey that has been far more complex. Gaither's life, while rich in blessings, has also been marked by trials, disappointments, and personal sacrifices. His music speaks, often of joy, heaven, and eternal faith. But those lyrics were not born out of a life free from hardship. Rather, they grew out of a man who has wrestled with sadness, perseverance, and the realities of being human. As Bill now approaches his 90th year, his story becomes even more compelling. Admirers look at his enduring presence and ask themselves, how did he keep going? How did he hold on to his calling, his joy, and his purpose when so many obstacles stood in the way? The answer is not simple, but it is profound. From the outside, Bill Gaither's career sparkles with the marks of success, countless awards, sold-out concerts, and a legacy that has deeply influenced the Christian music world. To the casual observer, it might appear that his life has been a smooth path, paved with applause and admiration. But when one looks closer, the truth reveals a layered story. Bill's songs, whether sung in intimate church halls or broadcast into millions of homes through television specials, are filled with messages of joy, hope, and eternal faith. Yet those themes carry weight precisely because they were born out of moments of struggle. When his audiences sing along to the words of encouragement, they may not realize that those very lyrics often came from a place of wrestling with doubt, pain, or weariness. Many would never imagine that a man so admired and influential could also carry wounds and burdens of his own. But this is exactly what makes Bill's journey worth telling. His story is a reminder that even those who inspire millions are not immune to the storms of life. If anything, his hardships helped forge the sincerity that people hear in his music. Without those valleys, the mountaintop songs might not carry the same depth. So, as Bill Gaither reaches an age when most would have long retired, fans continue to wonder, how did he endure? How did he balance the pressures of fame, ministry, and personal struggles without giving up? The answer lies in retracing his steps from the very beginning. Bill Gaither's story begins in the modest town of Alexandria, Indiana, in the 1930s. It was a place where faith and community shaped everyday life. His childhood was not defined by fame or luxury, but by simple values: hard work, devotion to family, and commitment to God. In many ways, these early influences became the bedrock of everything he would later accomplish. As a boy, Bill discovered a profound love for music. The hymns sung in his local church stirred something deep within him. The harmonies, the reverence, and the sheer beauty of those songs ignited a spark in his heart. Unlike many children his age who might have seen church music as routine or ordinary, Bill felt it as a calling. Each note seemed to carry a message greater than itself, and young Bill began to dream that perhaps he too could create music that lifted people's spirits. Encouraged by his family, Bill began writing songs of his own. He would sing in gatherings, small church events, and wherever he found an audience. His early attempts may have been humble, but they carried the seeds of something much bigger. These formative years gave him a sense of purpose, that music was not just entertainment. It was a tool for ministry, a bridge between people and God, and a source of comfort during life's storms. Though Bill had no way of knowing it then, those small-town beginnings were laying the foundation for a career that would touch millions. Alexandria may have been just a dot on the map, but it was here that one of gospel music's greatest voices first began to dream, to write, and to sing. For Bill, music was never just a pastime. By the time he reached adulthood, he understood that what stirred within him was more than talent. It was a calling. He firmly believed God had placed this assignment on his life, and that he was to use music not simply to entertain, but to minister. This conviction became the driving force behind every decision he made. While others around him pursued careers for financial gain or recognition, Bill's primary goal was to serve. He believed music could be a bridge, connecting people to God and to one another, offering strength in times of weakness and light in moments of despair. It was during these years that Bill's path became intertwined with Gloria, who would not only become his wife but also his partner in ministry and songwriting. Together, they began to dream even bigger. Gloria shared Bill's conviction that songs should speak to the real struggles of life: marriage, doubt, perseverance, and faith in God. Their partnership deepened not just their music but also their ministry. The calling that began in the small town church pews was now shaping into a full-fledged mission. Bill and Gloria realized that their songs were not just melodies, but messages. They were lifelines for those who felt weary, encouragement for those who felt alone, and reminders that God's presence was near. This discovery transformed Bill's love for music into a lifelong pursuit. He was no longer just a singer or a writer. He was a messenger. And through that calling, he was about to embark on a journey that would change the landscape of Christian music forever. The next chapter in Bill Gaither's story saw the birth of the Gaither Trio, a group that originally included Bill, Gloria, and Bill's brother, Danny. Later, Gloria stepped in more fully as a singer and lyricist alongside her husband. The trio began traveling across the country, performing in churches, community halls, and gatherings large and small. Their sound was distinctive, rooted in traditional gospel but infused with fresh harmonies and heartfelt lyrics. Unlike polished performers seeking fame, the Gaithers brought with them an authenticity that audiences could feel. When they sang, it wasn't about impressing. It was about connecting. Listeners felt as though the songs were narrating their own stories, touching the very struggles and hopes they carried in their hearts. The popularity of the Gaither Trio began to grow rapidly. They recorded albums, performed widely, and developed a reputation for both excellence and sincerity. But for Bill, the goal was never money or fame. His heart remained firmly planted in ministry. Every song was written and performed with the hope that it might carry God's presence into the room. By the 1970s, the Gaither Trio had earned a strong place in the Christian music community. Their albums inspired countless fans, and their concerts became life-changing experiences for many. Bill and Gloria's songwriting also flourished during this time, producing timeless hymns such as Because He Lives and He Touched Me. These songs would go on to become staples in churches around the world, sung by millions long after they were first introduced. This was the breakthrough Bill had once only dreamed of in his childhood church pews. But unlike many who rise to fame, Bill never saw his music as his own glory. To him, it was a sacred assignment, a way to minister to hearts through melody and word. The success of the Gaither Trio confirmed that the dream was becoming reality, but the mission was only just beginning. As the 1980s unfolded, Bill Gaither's vision expanded in ways even he could not have fully anticipated. His dream was not only to sing gospel music, but to build a community around it, a movement that would preserve the traditions of gospel while introducing it to new generations. This vision gave birth to what became known as the Gaither Homecoming series. The concept was simple but groundbreaking. Bill invited legendary gospel singers, many of whom were nearing the later years of their careers, to gather and sing together. These homecoming concerts were filled not just with music, but with fellowship, storytelling, and testimonies of faith. It was as if the living history of gospel music had been brought together on one stage. Televised nationwide, the Homecoming series quickly became beloved across America. Families tuned in week after week, finding not only entertainment, but also a sense of unity, warmth, and spiritual renewal. The programs were different from anything else on television. They felt like sitting in on a family gathering of faith-filled voices. Through these specials, Bill became far more than just a singer. He was now a producer, organizer, and visionary leader. He gave a platform to older gospel legends whose voices might otherwise have been forgotten, while also nurturing younger artists who would carry the torch forward. This balance, preserving tradition while embracing new talent, became one of the secrets of the series' success. By the 1990s and early 2000s, Bill Gaither stood at the very peak of his career. His name had become nearly synonymous with gospel music itself. His production company released album after album, many climbing to the top of Christian charts. His influence stretched far beyond church walls, reaching millions of viewers worldwide. What had started as a small-town boy's dream of writing songs for church had grown into a global ministry. Bill Gaither had become one of the most defining figures in the history of gospel music. And yet, even at this height of influence, challenges quietly loomed behind the scenes. For all its success, the work of running such a massive ministry came at a cost. The demands of constant travel, production schedules, and the weight of leadership were relentless. Bill poured endless energy into the Homecoming series, the concerts, and the albums, but such dedication required personal sacrifices. Behind the smiling performances and joyful songs, there were seasons of exhaustion, doubt, and emotional struggle. Leading a movement of this scale meant carrying the burdens of countless people, artists, staff, and fans, while also managing his own personal life. Bill was not immune to moments of weariness, times when the weight felt overwhelming. These struggles were not always visible to the public. To most, Bill remained the joyful, steady presence who led songs of hope. But privately, the pressures of fame and responsibility sometimes pressed heavily on him. And yet, it was often in those very moments of weakness that new songs were born, songs that spoke of trust, perseverance, and the sustaining power of faith. Bill's story reminds us that even the most celebrated figures are not spared from hardship. His legacy is not built only on the songs of triumph, but also on the tears, prayers, and struggles that shaped those songs. As Bill Gaither nears his 90th year, his journey stands as a powerful reminder of what it truly means to live a life of faith. His story is not one of unbroken ease, but of resilience, perseverance, and an unshakable calling. He has shown the world that greatness is not defined by fame or awards, but by faithfulness to the mission placed upon one's life. The songs he and Gloria have written continue to echo in churches and homes across the globe. They remind listeners that even in the darkest valleys, God's light still shines. And the legacy of the Homecoming series ensures that gospel music will continue to inspire generations yet to come. Bill Gaither's life has been a tapestry woven with both blessings and hardships. His music, born from that blend, carries an authenticity that few can match. And perhaps that is why, after all these years, his voice and his message still resonate so deeply. His journey shows us that even when trials come, faith can endure, and through that faith, lives can be forever changed. Bill Gaither's journey is not only about the music he created, but about the legacy he leaves behind. His life's work stands as a testimony to what happens when passion is surrendered to a higher purpose. Generations of Christians across the globe continue to sing his songs, often without even realizing the man behind the words. Hymns like, "Because He Lives" have become anthems of hope in hospital rooms, at funerals, during times of national crisis, and in the quiet moments of individual prayer. In these ways, Bill's voice lives on far beyond the stage. The Homecoming series also reshaped the Christian music industry. By bringing together legends and newcomers, Bill created a bridge across generations, ensuring that the heritage of gospel would never fade into obscurity. Young artists who once stood nervously on Gaither's stage now carry the torch, leading worship in churches worldwide and recording their own albums. His influence has multiplied through them, creating ripples that continue to spread. But perhaps Bill's greatest legacy is not the awards, the albums, or the sold-out concerts. It is the way he reminded people that music can heal, unify, and inspire. He proved that faith expressed through song can reach hearts in ways sermons or speeches sometimes cannot. As time moves forward, Bill Gaither's story will continue to inspire, because it is more than a musician's biography. It is a witness to perseverance, a testimony of faith, and a reminder that even in struggle, a life lived for God can leave an eternal impact.